Okay, so we're going to be talking about draw tools in the drawing toolbar and getting shapes basically that you can make formatting changes to. So one way to access these auto shapes is to go to the toolbox, and it's the second one over. So that very first one says formatting palette. If you click on the second one, it's like a picture with a plus sign. That's going to bring up all your shapes. Now I will tell you, sometimes when you use the toolbox this way, it will cause your document to crash. Not sure why, there seems to not be a lot of rhyme or reason to it, so you will want to save frequently. What's the shortcut for saving?
Command S.
Okay, so just remember that. Like after you make a change, Command S, just quickly save it. Because that way, in case it crashes, you at least have all your data there. So this is one way to access shapes. Another way to access all the shapes is to go into your menu bar, and go to Format, Insert first, and then where? What do you think? Insert and,
Symbol.
Not symbols. We're talking about objects and shapes, but not HTML objects.
Pictures.
Go to Picture, and then where it says Auto Shapes. Very good. So either way that can happen. Oh my goodness, got all these other things. If you go to the Insert menu bar, holy cats, just a second, let me bring this picture back for him. It's going to bring this up, and then here's your auto shapes right here. You can work from wherever you want to. I'm going to show you just from the toolbar for this purpose with practicing, but again, you can do any of these. If this comes up on the side, you can see basic shapes. They look the same as what's over here. Your block arrows, if you scroll down, it's going to look the same as what's right here. If you go to flowcharts, it's going to look like those. If you go to stars and banners, yep, looks like the ones that are at the bottom over here. And if you go to callouts, it's going to look like the ones that are over here if I scroll down a little farther. Now also in this object palette is where you can find clip art, but again it's kind of buggy sometimes. You can find symbols here, and then you can actually go find photos here. This is not the best way to find clip art or photos though, only because it's not organized by any sort of categories. You can search, but it's not the best keyword searching. So this is really the best option just if you're doing shapes. I would like everybody right now to go get let's do this pentagon. Two different things you can do. One, you can click on it to select the pentagon. Notice how my cursor changes to a plus sign. I could just click and put in a standard pentagon. Or I can click on the pentagon, and then I could draw it to whatever size I kind of want it to be. So you can do either one. If you just clicked in the document workspace somewhere, you can still resize it by dragging these things on the corner. Anybody know what these are called? Something you can hold on to. Well, I could drag from the edges too, so that's not really corners. What do you hold on to when you ride a bike?
Handlebars.
Yeah, that's what these are. These are handles. So you can grab these handles and you can use them to pull and resize. If you want it to stay in proportion, though, you need to drag from one of the corners, and then it doesn't change its sizing as long as you move out and not just down or to the left. Okay, but you can see blue is our first default. Everybody needs to get the pentagon going on.
I don't have one.
If you hover over the top, it will give you a screen tip and it will tell you which one it is. If you're looking at it, it's the one that's right next to this upside down trapezoid. That's a pentagon, 5 sides. So to make your formatting changes, I'm going to just close this toolbox up for now. To make formatting changes to this, the easiest place to go to is to go ahead and double click on your item. You can also right click and you can go to Format Auto Shape. Oops, let me zoom out a little. Format Auto Shape. You can also though just double click, and I think that's easier because that brings up the entire dialog box to do editing from. Wait patiently while it comes up. This is where we're going to do almost all of our formatting from. Now, can I do it in other places? Most definitely. You can go to Format and then down to Auto Shape. Mine's not active because it's still showing, but Format and Auto Shape. Or you can also open your toolbox. I'm not sure why I'm locked up here. Here we go. Or you can go into your toolbox, and then instead of being in the object palette, you can go to this first tab, and you can come over here to the formatting palette, and you can do a lot of the same things. Just remember though, your toolbox gives you limited variety. So if you use your toolbox, you might not be able to do everything from there. The best place is to have that whole dialog box pop up. Yes, what's your question? Okay, so any way you can do it, whether it's double clicking, right clicking, or going to your format and then auto shape menu, you need to have this dialog box up. Let's just take a look first. You need this dialog box open.
What was it at?
I just said 3 different ways. One way is to double click, another way is to right click, a third way is to go to format and auto shape. So let's take a look. First of all, if you want to change anything with the colors or the lines, this first tab is what you need to be in. If you want to change anything with the size, second tab is where you need to be. Then if you want to change anything with the layout, the third tab is where you need to be. Generally for this purpose, you will want it to be square or tight so it can be movable. If something comes in and it's either in line with text or sometimes there's ones that you can select as top and bottom, you can't always move them around. Because if you notice, you can freely move this shape wherever you want to, right? Up, down, left, right, you can move this shape around and it'll move. That's something to remember for the future though. If you can't get a shape or an object of some sort to move, it's because of the wrapping. So if you remember the little dog, that's the wrapping. It's with layout. So let's go ahead and either tight or square. I'm not really having a preference one way or the other which one you choose. Let's first talk about fill colors. So blue is the default. That's what's going to come up for everybody. If you click on the fill colors, you could use whatever ones are here. They're rather boring though, I happen to think. There are more colors, and then you could go to your crayons or your palette where you can pick, or you can do RGB colors or whatever else pops up. Again, like way too much variety, and it's still you're pretty much stuck with one color. So what I would suggest to you is going down to Fill Effects. And this brings up a second dialog box. So to get with me, under Color, I went down to Fill Effects. Please do so. Now in Fill Effects, notice we can fill the gradient, and gradient means how it changes from like point A to point B. So in this case, it's a horizontal gradient, so it changes from, in this one, bottom to top, this one top to bottom. You could do a vertical gradient. See how it's darker on this side, lighter on this side. Diagonals is going to be darker one side and 1/4, excuse me, lighter on the other. And then from center, obviously it's darker in the center and moves outer to the lighter color. Anyway, so in gradient, let's go ahead and pick the first color to be, let's pick a kind of purplish color for the first one. My colors are not showing up, that's very weird. Well, I think purples are over here. Orchid, that's kind of purple, isn't it? And then for color 2, this is not being weird for Battle Creek, but let's go ahead and just do yellow, because you can see a definite difference with those two contrasting colors. And then pick one of these shading styles, so you can just see the difference in what it looks like. I don't care which one you pick, just pick one of them. And if you click OK, and then click OK again, you will see it applied to your shape. Okay, so that's why you can see how you can make basic changes. Now, are there way more you can do? Yes. Double click and get back in, or right click and get back in, or go to Format and Auto Shapes, however you need to get into this dialog box. Let's go back to Fill Effects. And notice there's a box here that says there's presets. So there's some that are already pre-selected for you that kind of look good together. So for instance, maybe I want calm water. I could go ahead and choose one of those, and I want a diagonal one, and if I clicked OK and OK, it's going to come up, and then I have that preset. I don't know why I'm going purple today. That's kind of weird, isn't it? I'll go choose a different one so it doesn't seem so purpley. Fire, that's not purple. So you can see you have all these varieties that you can do with Fill Effects. I'm going to give you 2 minutes to So wherever you're at, I don't care what style you've picked or whatever you've decided to do, let's go back into Fill Effects. And I want to take a look at a couple other things. So this is with gradient. Gradient is like how it would vary from one to the other. You can go choose just one color gradient, and it's going to go from lighter to darker. Or if I slid this over, notice it makes it more white, I guess. Or you could again choose 2 colors and then make it whatever colors you choose. Or you can use the presets, any of those. Textures, there are quite a few different textures available. They are just preset with Microsoft Office. And then the textures that you choose, like let's say I choose this raindroppy looking one, water droplets, excuse me, and it makes it look like it has water droplets on it, whatever texture you use. Again, this is all under Fill Effects. Patterns, same thing, and you can choose your colors. So let me make something way more contrasting here so you can see. Like let's say I choose this pattern with like the confetti look thing. If I choose that, it's gonna give that to you. You know, like those mind bender things that like hurt your eyes. This is what you can do, or how you could do that is with the textures. And then the last thing you can do, and I don't know why, but this will only work for about 50% of you. It did not work for me last time. Maybe it will work this time. You can apply a picture to it. So you can go select a picture. If you don't have any pictures, well then obviously you can't. But when you go to select a picture, you wait patiently for it to open. My gosh, I'm gonna... So then whatever your picture is, I think I have to do Wrigley Field because the Cubbies won last night. So there's my Wrigley Field outfield. This was from last year, their 100-year thing. But you could even put a person's picture in there, like a face of somebody, if you wanted to put their face on there. Go ahead and click Insert and click OK. Now remember though, it's going to only be fitting around your area. So it distorts it a little. But you could apply that picture as your color. Now, come back with me to Fill Effects. If you got the picture to work, great. Is there anybody that didn't get the picture to work? Yeah, for some of you that didn't get picture to work, there's a couple other workarounds and I can help you individually with that. But basically it's just making sure you choose the right type of picture or picture file. Okay, so that's Fill Effects. Now, right now, our line color is set to blah, boring blue. You can tell it you want no line and click on that, and then you see no border around your picture. You're still going to see this blue box until you deselect, but you see no border around it. To change the color of the line, you simply choose the color you want. So the Cubs are very red, so I'm going to say red and put red around it so you see that. If you want that line to get thicker or fatter, you choose your line style and then make it thicker or fatter, or make it 2 lines, or a thin, a fat, and a thin, or whatever you want. You could choose the line style. Maybe I want to make it dashed or dotted. I can change the weight. That's how thick it is. So maybe I want to make this baby, that's really thick, but you'll get the point of it when I hit OK. So there I put like this really thick border around this itty bitty little picture. It cropped a lot of my picture away, but you can see I put that line around it. I'll probably take this back to something normal now, like maybe a 6-point font won't be quite so bad. And a dashed line, Morse Cody looking. And so then I can add that around it. So wherever you are with your picture and you're playing, as long as you have some sort of border around it, that's what I'm looking for. Double click to get back into your Format Auto Shape, or again, whatever you're doing, right clicking or go up to Format and Auto Shape. So that's how you can adjust things with fill, color, and then with the line color or the line size. The next tab over says size. You can adjust the height and the width of whatever your auto shape is. Now, how to remember absolute versus relative. Your relatives can change, can't they? People are born, people die, people get married, people get divorced. Relatives can change, right? So relative means that these could change, and it could be relative to the page or the margins or whatever else. We don't usually use relative because it can change. When we set something with size, we set it so it's absolute. Absolute means it's 100%. It's all the time. It's always going to happen. So let's go ahead and set this so it is 5.5 inches tall. And let's make the width, so you notice a difference. Let's make the width just 3. If you hit OK, notice what it's going to do. It's going to make like this really weird looking pentagon.
Wow.
Come back with me, if you double click and you still want it to look like a nice perfect looking little pentagon, then you have to do what we call lock aspect ratio. And that'll keep the height and the width in proportion to each